Hello and welcome back to this final part in my pepper mill series. Previous episodes I have shown you how I make the bases and the scoops. Today we are tackling the body. We'll cover resin casting, milling, turning, sanding, finishing and finally the assembly. But first, let's start on some prep work. So the resin mould is now ready to go. I've added yew, pine cones, cinnamon sticks and star anise. Today I'll be using Epodex 100ml deep cast resin, mixed at 1:2 ratio with both pigment powders and liquid pigments. Right, let's start mixing. set, ready to go. We just need to trim it down to size. So that's all the pepper mills bored out. Next job is to put the recesses in and also to drill the salt mills. So now the salt mills are hollowed out and they're ready to turn. It is time to put the recesses into the pepper mill blanks. And the way I'm going to do that is using a router with a guide bush and the little guide that I've made up myself. So I'm just going to center the blank and we're going to hot glue . So far I have drilled out the blank and created a recess for the pepper mill to sit into. I've test fitted it, make sure it fits in nice and snug, which it does. I've removed the guide bush for the router using alcohol. My next job is to start turning. So that's the pepper mills turned. They're ready to be sanded. Next step is to do the salt mills. And it's the same process as before. Turn it to round, make sure the base fits, and put the recess in. Right, let's get cracking. If you're still watching, hit the subscribe button. So that's the workshop cleared up. I finished turning the salt and pepper mills. Next job is sanding. I'm going to sand these using Abranet pads. I'm going to wet sand them from 180 grit up to 4000, and then afterwards I'm going to use burnishing cream just to give them a really good polish. The salt and pepper mill bodies have been now sanded, polished, and they're ready for oiling. But before I do, I need to glue in part of the salt mechanism that holds everything together. So the salt mills I'll be using consist of two parts. You have the handle and the grinder itself. What I need to do is to remove the retainer plate, which then I will swap those out for a stainless steel version during assembly. And that will allow me to access this outer bush here, which needs to be epoxied into the base of the salt mill. So that is the first coat out of 3 applied. Once fully cured, I'm going to use this abrasive paste to burnish them. The salt and pepper mill bodies are now finished and they're ready for the final step, which is the assembly. I'm going to start with the salt mill. I've already glued in the bush that holds everything together. All I need to do is drop in the grinder mechanism, install the retainer plate, and then finally fit the handle. As the salt grinder is complete, it's now time to do the pepper mills. The kit that I'll be using comes with 2 fixing screws that are located at the back and the front. What I need to do is pop the grinder in to make sure I'm happy with the orientation. Once I am, I can drill out the 2 pilot holes. Then I apply a little bit of Gorilla Glue just to stop anything from coming loose. I can then pop the grinder in, drive the screws in, and then wipe away any excess. So that's it for part 3. The salt and pepper mill sets are now complete. If you would like to know how I make the scoops or the bases, please check out part 1 and 2. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe and click on the notification bell. Till next time, cheers!